Hello, President Barack Obama. My name is Talithia Barrett. I live in North Carolina. I am a registered Democrat and I did vote for you. Matter of fact, I created a group called Florida Moms for Change while I lived in Broward County, Florida. We raised money for you. We went out with our children in strollers, pregnant, and knocked on doors. Our children, 2, 3, 4, 6 years old. We did, waving the banners out on our street corners. And we really got out to register people to vote, moms with strollers and pregnant. At the time, my children were about 6 months, and I think 3 and 5 at that time. Those same children have suffered at the hands of hate groups now that you've been in office. I myself, we have suffered at the hand of people filled with hate. Um, I've put in complaints and I have gotten findings that are in my favor that we've experienced racial discrimination. But sadly, there's been no enforcement and there's been no equal protection under the law for us, me and my family. Sad to say that I am not the only one. Because I have suffered racial discrimination, my children, physical abuse at the hands of school officials. Um, and I've seen sheriff departments willfully refuse to talk to witnesses and willfully throw out witnesses' accounts just because they can. And no justice come where a teacher who has physically abused my daughter suffered a back strain, a neck concussion, a back concussion, contusion, sorry, a neck contusion, back contusion, and a back strain. I have hospital records. They're saying the police department says it never happened. Even, I mean, it's amazing to me how um, hate can run so deep. Um, it was such an experience for me. I actually went and started helping other people. And I found out that I'm not the only one in North Carolina who who is suffering at the hands of hate groups. Um, and statistically throughout America, hate groups rose drastically after your presidency. And if you're wondering why many of us are not heading out to the polls, it's mostly because we are so worried about the safety of our families that we can't even think to get out and be motivated to do the things that we did at one point because we are being attacked on so many fronts. Um, our homes are no longer safe. Our neighborhoods are no longer safe. Our schools for our children are no longer safe. We don't have police officers that prosecute um, teachers. We don't have anywhere to go when people do things wrongfully to us within the state of North Carolina without having money for a lawyer. I've talked with other mothers, parents whose children have been choked with their feet dangling off the ground, um, burned, um, possibly strapped down and burned, pinched, allowed to choke. Um, my daughter, her neck alone. Um, these things are well documented, but there's no agency that's been able to come in and enforce the laws even after there has been investigations at the federal level that have found racial discrimination. Judges, they don't allow our witnesses to take the stand. They um, they dismiss our cases before we can present all of our evidence. They won't allow evidence to be entered in. And there's very few places for us to go to get justice. Uh, we can complain to the right departments about unethical violations or judges that don't follow the letter of the law. And we're finding that a lot of times these people themselves won't investigate. We just can't get any justice here. And it's not like it's not hard to know that hate groups have risen, and we can see a lot of that hate come out with the laws that are trying to be passed and laws that are being passed that negatively will affect African Americans and other groups that voted for you, like young adults. Um, and women. We're seeing a lot of people who voted for you, we're getting a lot of backlash, and it's hindering us with stress and worry, just because our children are being attacked in schools. Our sons are being shot down and killed by regular people as well as police officers. Um, there's no justice. They get slaps on the hand if they get anything. And that is not something that can help motivate a people. We see high foreclosures. Um, we see high job loss, poverty now. Many women are having their children taken from them because they have fallen into poverty and lost their jobs and housing. So they become targets of child protection services who come in and take their children, not because their children are being abused or neglected per se, but just because they lack the so-called housing that they think they have to have, or the so-called furniture that they say they have to have, or they live with their parents and that's so-called still homeless. And then they don't return the children. They take our children faster and they won't return our children. Even if family members petition, the family members have a hard time getting the children. So our children are taken, adopted out. They're being killed by the hands of hateful people, by police officers. Our children are being physically abused and attacked by teachers in the school systems, and no one's reporting it. I can't get anyone to do a report on the fact that my child has suffered a neck contusion, a back contusion, and a back strain at the hands of her teacher, and all the many things that happened at the school system. And I have findings of racial discrimination from a federal investigation, but there's been no prosecution, um, and no investigations, proper investigations. They won't allow witnesses to be heard, the judges, the police officers, and it becomes very disheartening. Um, uh, it just makes you become very aloof, where you don't want to be involved with anything other than taking care of your family. So, Mr. President, if you want us, at the African American population, to get back out and support your efforts, you have to address these real issues of our children being killed, attacked, our children being taken from us, losing jobs, homelessness, high foreclosure, um, and because of credit issues, we can't get housing, we can't get jobs, our children being taken. Those things are causing a lot of stress to extended families, immediate families, um, and so if a lot of the people who voted for you are suffering because of the political agendas with the laws that are being passed. I believe, Mr. President, that someone needs to do an investigation on these people that willfully vote to make things hard that everyone knows will affect negatively certain populations, particularly African Americans. I believe that their vote and their constant history of voting, as well as the things that they say and the groups that they're involved in, should be investigated. And if it finds that there is a trend that shows possible racism, I believe that is enough to see to it that these people get out of office or totally exposed, because they're going to make it hard for any person to get our votes. You're not going to be able to motivate a base that is stressed out, tired, scared, harassed, attacked physically, um, and left out there with no help. We need for you to address our issues as African Americans, and as well as those of women and those of the youth as well. Mr. President, I hope that you take my video seriously. I'm more than willing to show you all my federal findings. I'm more than willing to show you all my emails that I have, videos, pictures of harassment, retaliation, my children being attacked, suffering at physical abuse at the hands of school officials, um, and the fact that sheriff's departments absolutely refuse to allow witnesses to give their account and do a proper investigation. I'm asking for your help. Please have my back, as I've had yours with a group, Florida Moms for Change. So this is Talithia Barrett asking for your help. Thank you very much.